67,000 people on their feet. Chinnaswamy is shaking, not a metaphor. The ground is moving. Virat Kohli has dragged this team through the entire tournament on his back. 973 runs, 4 centuries, numbers that shouldn't exist in a single IPL season. And right now, right here, one final stands between him and the trophy that has haunted Royal Challengers Bengaluru since the day this franchisee was born. They lost by 8 runs. And here is what no one talked about after that night. Not the dropped catches, not the bowling. The real question, the one every cricket fan has been too afraid to ask out loud for 18 years. We are putting Virat Kohli's IPL career on trial. One man, one franchisee, 3 finals lost. The greatest individual season the IPL has ever seen. Wasted. 771 matches wearing the same badge while dynasties rose and fell around him. So tonight we answer it. Was Virat Kohli's loyalty to RCB the most courageous act of devotion in modern cricket, or was it the most expensive mistake of his career? No easy answers, no fanboy takes, just the evidence. Let's begin. Before the IPL contracts, before the hundreds of millions watching, before any of it, there was a Ranji Trophy match in December 2006 that almost nobody remembers. But it tells you everything you will ever need to know about Virat Kohli. He is 18 years old, playing for Delhi against Karnataka at the Firozshah Kotla. Day 2, he is unbeaten on 40 overnight. Delhi are in trouble, and this teenager is one of the few things standing between his team and a collapse. At 2:30 in the morning, his father, Prem Kohli, suffers a cardiac arrest. Virat is there. He watches his father take his last breath. He drives the body to the hospital. The doctors try. They can't bring him back. Now put yourself in that room. You are 18. Your father just died in front of you. Your team has a cricket match in a few hours. That, in the grand scheme of your life, means absolutely nothing. Nobody, not your captain, not your coach, and not a single person alive would blame you for staying home. At 6 in the morning, Virat Kohli picks up the phone, calls his coach and says 4 words. I want to bat. He walks out to the crease that day and scores 90, not 50, 90. Delhi were staring at a follow-on, and this kid, this screaming, sleepless, broken kid, held the innings together with his bare hands. Ravin Uthappa was playing for Karnataka that day. He was on the other side, watching it happen in real time. And years later, he described the way Kohli batted that morning. He said it wasn't the burning fire we would eventually come to associate with Kohli. No fury, no teeth-clenching aggression. He called it and calm, steady, controlled, like a boy holding everything inside, because if he let even one crack show, the whole thing would shatter. His father was cremated that evening. I tell you this story not because it's sad. I tell you this story because it is the source code. This is the operating system that runs everything Virat Kohli has done since. Every chase, every comeback, every time he has been written off and walked out the next day like nothing happened. You want to understand why this man played 771 IPL matches for a franchisee that broke his heart over and over again. Why he never demanded a trade, never forced a move, never did what any rational, career maximizing athlete would have done. You have to understand this first. This is not a man who quits when it hurts. This is a man who walks into the fire and bats. And in 2008, Royal Challengers Bengaluru were about to hand him the longest, slowest and most beautiful fire of his life. 2008, a 19-year-old kid, fresh off captaining India to the Under-19 World Cup, gets picked up by Royal Challengers Bengaluru for, and I want you to remember this number, 80 lakh rupees. That's less than what some players spend on a dinner. Nobody is building a franchisee around this boy. He is a prospect, a project, a maybe. 2009, first full season, Kohli finds his feet. RCB find the final. and they lose. Heartbreak number 1. The kid is 20 years old and he is already learned what it feels like to come that close and walk away empty. Then the cavalry arrives. Chris Gale walks into the RCB lineup like a thunderstorm, 6 after 6 after 6, turning Chinnaswamy into his personal backyard, and alongside Kohli, a quiet South African with soft hands and impossible reflexes, AB de Villiers. They don't know it yet, but these two are about to build the most devastating partnership the IPL has ever seen. 3,123 runs together, a brotherhood forged in run chases and last over chaos. 2011, RCB make the final again. They lose again. Heartbreak number 2, same ending, different year. 2013, the franchisee hands Kohli the captaincy. He is 24 and almost immediately the fire that Uthappa saw as an ember in 2006 starts showing its teeth. The confrontation with Gautam Gambhir, chest to chest, jaw to jaw, two men who would rather break that bend. That's not gamemanship. That's Kohli telling the entire league, I am not here to participate, I am here to take what's mine. But here is what the highlights don't show you. Between every century, every chase, every moment that made the crowd lose its mind, there were auctions where bigger franchises came calling. There were whispers, there were offers. Every other superstar in this league's history, with one famous exception in Chennai, has moved, chased a bigger paycheck, chased a trophy cabinet, chased a system that was already built to win. Kohli stayed with a team that had now broken his heart twice in finals and showed no signs of stopping. The prosecution says this was ego, stubbornness dressed up as loyalty. A man too proud to admit he would hitched his wagon to a broken franchise, so he wrapped his refusal to live in the language of devotion and called it virtue. The defense says this was love, the rarest, most irrational, most human thing left in modern professional sport. A man who chose belonging over winning because he believed against all evidence that all winning would come, and the evidence, it's about to get ugly. Let me give you a number and I want you to sit with it before I explain what it means. 0. Before the 2016 IPL season, Virat Kohli had 0 centuries in T20 cricket, not one in any format of the shortest game, international, domestic, IPL. The man, who was already being called the greatest chaser in cricket history, had never once crossed 3 figures in a T20 innings. He scored 4 in a single tournament. The first one comes against Gujarat Lions. It's not a slow build, not a cautious accumulation. Kohli walks out and starts hitting the ball like he is having a private conversation with it. 151 deliveries. Clean. Clinical. The Chinnaswamy crowd doesn't even fully understand what they are watching yet. They think it's a good day. They have no idea it's the beginning of something that has never happened before in this sport and may never happen again. The second, Royal Challengers Bengaluru against Gujarat Lions again, and this time Kohli decides 51 balls is too many. He gets there in 47. But this innings isn't the headline. The headline is what happens next to him, because AB de Villiers walks in and the two of them do something that erases every T20 partnership record in existence. 229 runs together, the highest partnership in all T20 cricket, not just the IPL, all of it. Every league, every international, every match ever played in this format. Kohli finishes on 109, ABD finishes on 129. The bowlers finish questioning their career choices. The third, and this is one that haunts me, Kings 11 Punjab, rain reduced match. Kohli had 7 stitches in his right hand. The webbing between his fingers is split open, freshly sorted, barely held together. Any other human being puts on a bandage and watches from the balcony. Kohli walks out, takes guard and scores 113 runs with a hand that is literally coming apart. When they show the close-up of his glove between overs, you can see the tape soaking through red. He doesn't mention it in the post-match interview, not once. 4 centuries, 973 runs, an average of 81. in a format where 50 is considered a great innings and 70 is considered extraordinary. This man averaged 81 across an entire tournament. Statisticians didn't have a framework for what Kohli was doing. This wasn't peak performance. This was a man bending of a sport to his will through sheer terrifying refusal to accept any outcome other than the one he had decided on. And the outcome he had decided on was the trophy. May 29th, 2016, the final home ground, Chinnaswamy. 67,000 people who have watched this man carry their franchise on his spine for 2 months straight. Sunrisers Hyderabad bat first, 280 for 7. A big total, chaseable total, especially for this team, especially for this man, especially tonight. Kohli and Gale open 55 runs in 5 overs. The stadium is vibrating. This is it. After all the years, all the heartbreaks and all the finals lost, this is the night it ends. You can feel it in the crowd. You can see it in the way Kohli is moving between the wickets. Everything is aligned, and then it isn't. The collapse doesn't come all at once. It comes in pieces. A wicket here, a dot ball there, the run rate creeping off, the crowd getting quieter degree by degree, like someone slowly turning down the volume on 67,000 voices. And then Ben Cutting walks in and starts hitting everything into the stands. And suddenly the total that felt so gettable is a mountain and the momentum is gone. And RCB's middle order is folding in on itself like a wet paper. 80 runs short. The broadcast camera finds Sachin baby on the field, tears running down his face. It finds the RCB dugout, and there, sitting in the middle of it, completely still while everything falls apart around him, Virat Kohli, the man who scored 973 runs, the man who batted with a torn hand, the man who broke every record this format had to offer, sitting in silence, staring at a pitch that gave him everything except the only thing he wanted. 973 runs, 4 centuries, the greatest individual season in the history of the Indian Premier League, and the trophy went home with someone else. This isn't a statistic, this is a crime scene, and the man left standing in the middle of it, blood still on his gloves, record still next to his name, nothing to his hands, asked himself the same question that every RCB fan has whispered into their pillow for 18 years. Why does this keep happening to us? After 2016, something shifts, not in Kohli's ability, not in his commitment, in the story itself. 2017, eliminated in the playoffs. 2018, 6th place, didn't even come close. 2019, 4th, out in the eliminator, same script, different font, and every single year, somewhere in the RCB dressing room, somewhere in the Chinnaswamy stands, somewhere in the group chats of 40 million fans who keep coming back for reasons they can no longer rationally explain. The same 5 words, is Sala Cup Namde. This year, the cup is ours. It starts as a battle cry, it becomes a prayer, and then slowly, quietly, in the way that only the internet can do to something sacred, it becomes a joke. 2020, eliminated. 2021, Kohli calls a press conference and steps down as captain. 14 years of leading in the franchisee, and he walks away from the armband, not with a trophy, not with a lap of honor, but with a record that reads most matches as IPL captain without a title. The memes write themselves. RCB finishes last, dead last. The franchisee that Virat Kohli poured his entire adult life into is now a punchline on Twitter. 2022, eliminated. 2023, eliminated. 2024, eliminated. And here is the cruelty of it. While the IPL kept saying no, everything else said yes. Kohli walks into the 2024 T20 World Cup and wins it. Player of the final. He lifts the Champions Trophy in 2025. He retires from Test cricket, carrying a legacy that puts him alongside anyone who has ever held a bat. Everywhere Virat Kohli goes, he conquers. everywhere except the one place he has called home for his entire career. The IPL trophy sits in a glass case in that one room of his life he can't enter. Every single year when the auction rolls around and the cameras find his face and the reporters ask the same tired question, one man gives the same answer: I am staying. Not because Royal Challengers Bengaluru deserved him, the record says they didn't. Not because the franchisee had earned his faith, 18 years of evidence suggests otherwise. He stayed because leaving would have meant admitting that loyalty is a lie. And Virat Kohli doesn't believe loyalty is a lie, but belief doesn't fill a trophy cabinet, and the clock was running out. June 3rd, 2025, Narendra Modi Stadium, Ahmedabad. 132,000 seats, every single one of them full. And somewhere in that ocean of red, in a stadium built for a country, a man is about to finish a statement he started writing 18 years ago. RCB win the toss, the bat, Kohli opens, and from the first ball you can see it. He is not swinging for the fences. He is not trying to be the hero. He is doing what he did in December 2006 on the worst morning of his life. He is building brick by brick, ball by ball. 43 runs of 35 deliveries. Not a century, not a record platform kind of innings that doesn't make highlight reels but wins finals. He sacrifices his wicket so the hitters behind him can explode, and they do. 190 for 9, a total with teeth. Punjab Kings come out swinging, and for a while, for a long, familiar while, it looks like the same old story. The same script RCB fans have read so many times, they know the punctuation by heart. A strong start from the opposition, momentum shifting, the crowd getting quieter. Not tonight. Tonight the bowlers hold. Tonight the fielders dive and the edges miss and the Yorkers land on the crease instead of the slot. Tonight, for the first time in 18 years, the universe does not have a cruel punchline waiting at the end of a Royal Challengers Bengaluru season. Punjab falls 6 runs short. And here is the magic that will outline every statistics in this video. Before the last ball is even bowled, before the umpire signals, before the stumps are pulled, before any of the formalities that cricket insists upon, Virat Kohli drops to his knees, right there on the outfield grass, and the tears come. Not the polite camera ready tears of a man performing gratitude. These are the tears of a man who has been holding his breath for 18 years and has finally been allowed to exhale. The stadium erupts. 132,000 people screaming, crying, climbing over each other, strangers hugging strangers, and in the middle of all of it, on his knees, face in his hands, is the man who could have leapt. Who could have leapt if you believe careers are supposed to be optimized like stock portfolios. Who had every reason to leave and never once reached for the door. He speaks afterward, and when he does, his voice breaks in a way that no amount of media training can disguise. He says his heart is with Bengaluru. He says his soul is with Bengaluru, and the man he does something that undoes me completely. He dedicates the trophy to A.V. de Villiers and Chris Gayle. Two men who wore this jersey. Two men who bleed for this franchisee. Two men who stood beside him in the finals they lost, and run chases that fell short, and seasons that ended one match too early. They will never hold the trophy in RCB red, but Kohli holds it for them. If you understand what it cost a competitor like Virat Kohli to share the single greatest moment of this IPL life with men who aren't even on the field, then you understand everything about why he stayed. The verdict is in, and it is unanimous. Virat Kohli's loyalty to Royal Challengers Bengaluru was not stubbornness, it was not ego, it was not a man too proud to admit he had made a mistake. It was the single greatest act of faith in the history of franchise cricket, because he proved something that every cynic, every armchair analyst, every troll with a Wi-Fi connection said was impossible. That if you stay long enough, if you bleed long enough, if you refuse to walk away from the people and the place and the jersey that choose you when you were a 19-year-old kid worth 80 lakh rupees, the story eventually writes itself. Not in your timeline, in its own. We live in a world that teaches you to optimize. Leave the job before it breaks you. Leave the relationship before it disappoints you. Leave the team before the team leaves you. Move first, stay light, never be the last one holding on to something that hasn't paid you back yet. Virat Kohli rejected every word of that gospel. He stayed with a franchisee that gave him heartbreak in bulk and trophies on layaway. He stayed when the memes were louder than the fans. He stayed when staying looked like stubbornness and leaving would have looked like wisdom. He stayed not because he couldn't imagine life somewhere else, but because he refused to imagine the story ending in any other way. And that isn't a cricket lesson, that is a life lesson. The question was never whether Royal Challengers Bengaluru deserved Virat Kohli. 18 years of evidence says they probably didn't. The question was whether Kohli believed he deserved the story that loyalty writes. The long, painful, unglamorous, beautiful story that only reveals its ending to the people stubborn enough to stay for the final page. He believed it, and on June 3rd, 2025, the story finally believed him back. Thank you.